and begin there. A lot of times, as you described it, you'll be answering a lot of questions and clearing up a lot of misconceptions without them even having to make those criticisms to begin with. So that's just one idea. I'm not saying it's a strategy, but it's an idea. You want to say anything else?
One more question,
Assalamu alaikum. Dr. Miller, I have a question. It's not actually a question, it's just asking your opinion about that. Nowadays we are receiving through the mails some sort of letters, and I hardly really distinguish whether it's a handwritten or it's just a printed, and but the signatures are really ink and telephone numbers, and then they are talking mostly about the Bibles and all those things. And then they put also the 29-cent stamps on it. They spend a great deal of time, to make their way of presentation of their religion. So sometimes I'm thinking that whether or not would be beneficial for them to send what we are thinking rather than the answer to their letters. So do you have a sort of experience about that one? Would it be beneficial in terms of the spreading the message rather than the answering to their question, because their statement is really questionable. While you wrote like this, but it's not like that instead of that one, in the similar context, and then would it be beneficial for them also to send the same way? Or it's just a waste of time because those are just the printed materials and just anybody can sign and put the the names.
I guess I'd have to see what it is that you're
I think it's Jehovah's Witnesses. They do because.
Oh, okay. Because if they're mass mailings, you're going to be writing this information back to a computer anyway. But if it came from an individual, then some kind of short response. The only advice that I can offer is just take up one point. People sometimes feel that, well, now that I have a chance, I must cover everything. When you can overwhelm people, what you really want to do is maybe just make 1 or 2 points that make them think, and then if they want to know more, they come and ask you more. Because otherwise, you'll be in anguish, asking yourself, how will I squeeze into this little space everything that I feel he must know, because I have to tell him everything he needs to know and I have to get it on this piece of paper, when you just want to plant a seed or ask some little question that raises a little bit of an issue of some kind. I remember being in a debate one time, and there was a Christian clergyman, and there, as it happened, the moderator of the debate was a Muslim. He happened to be a professor at the university there, and it was myself. And he announced to the audience when we got started, he says, my job to make sure that everyone stays within the time limits, and so on. But then after, he came to me and he says, when this man asked you a question, you stopped after a minute. He said, you had the opportunity, you should have talked for 20 minutes. I only had 1 minute. And he had even said, this is my job to cut you off, and he was telling me, I wouldn't have, and you should have talked 20 minutes. Because you had the chance to say everything, and do it now. I said, you don't make any friends to do that kind of thing. Better to just disturb them. And again, I'm thinking, just isn't that how the Quran sounds? It doesn't start off saying, and in the next chapter is everything. It keeps asking people questions. Have they not considered this? And do they say that? Ask them that. And so it's always this kind of, it's almost like teasing people. To bother them a little bit. So now, well, I have to think about that, and then maybe come back and have another question. And that's how I think the human being wants to work. He doesn't want to be suddenly trapped and tied up, and they say, now you're going to hear the whole story. Give it to him. You get more success just to annoy him a little bit. So now his mind starts working. Okay,
last question. Assalamu alaikum. Is it possible to get a copy of your brochure so we can look into it?
Oh, no, that was an old...
All right. Jazakallah.
Oh, I didn't know any existed.